Esther, I want to talk to you about Japan because Japan has appointed its first female Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi. She's a former government minister, a TV host, and once a drummer in a heavy metal band, but she is conservative and is inspired by Margaret Thatcher. Now, Japan's new Prime Minister has made it clear that there is a zero tolerance for illegal immigration and will be sending out illegals.
私は外国人との穏やかなお互いに思いやりを持って生きられる付き合い方はどうすればできるんか、一遍ゼロベースで考えるつもりです。毎年毎年私たちと文化や何もかもがあんまりにも違う人たちをまとめて入れていくということ、この政策は一旦考え直さなあきません。経済的な動機でやってきて難民を主張する人、きちんとお帰りをいただきます。また不法滞在の人たちにも厳格に法律を守っていただきます。
Esther, her first diplomatic test will come in a few weeks when she hosts President Donald Trump in Tokyo. And I do want your thoughts on Japan's new Prime Minister, but I also have to get your thoughts on the leftist media's reaction to this in Meltdown, that a conservative has become Japan's first female Prime Minister. This is the headline on an ABC News article. Sanae Takaichi becomes Japan's first female PM, but some say it is not a win for women. And of course, this article has been written by a man, ABC's North Asia correspondent James Oaten, and this article attacks her conservative values. It goes on to say that her staunch conservative values has promoted traditional family structures. She supports current laws that prohibit married couples from having different surnames. She also opposed laws that would allow a woman to become an emperor. And they have featured this so-called political expert from Sophia University, Tina Burrett, in this article, who said it's almost like she's popular despite her gender rather than because of it. Esther, imagine that. Imagine becoming popular or earning your spot despite your gender.
I know, it's almost incredible. It almost looks like equality, which these people, I'm sure not too long ago, were bleating on about. Look, it only looks like women in politics is progress if they have the right kind of politics. And Takaichi is quite an interesting character. I mean, she's kind of centered herself recently in her politics. But if you look at the particularly on immigration that she's speaking of, in a country of about 124 million, you only have an estimate about just over 70,000 documented illegal immigrants, most of whom come from Vietnam and China and Thailand. But it's the frankness with which she talks about it, not making it a racial issue, not saying, like many people like to paint her as a far-right fascist or anything, just saying, if you break the law or if your way of life is not compatible with ours, you will not be allowed to stay. She's even talking about, tackling the asylum system, which Japan's asylum system is far from abused. They have a less than 1% acceptance rate. But it's clarity of saying, if this doesn't serve Japanese society, we will not accept it. Even if, and I'm sure when they get to cracking down on this illegal immigration, they end up rounding up about 100 people a year, if that. Even if that's all that matters, it's the principle of being able to have these discussions openly and say proudly, this is something that must benefit our society, or we will not tolerate it. That I think is blowing people's minds, and the fact that she's a woman as well, the first female prime minister saying this, is making these people's minds glitch. And I think in the West, I wish we could have these sorts of frank conversations. What is Western identity? What kind of immigration benefits our society? What should we tolerate? What should we accept? These sorts of things. And the fact that she's saying it so frankly, I mean, she was a huge fan of Margaret Thatcher. She actually met her before she died. And she was mentored by Shinzo Abe, who is the most successful prime minister in Japan's history. I mean, about a third of Japanese prime ministers only serve less than a year. So I think she's probably going to be quite successful in that regard. But, Western countries, take note.
Absolutely.